Please welcome your host, Bob Bedore.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Wow, too kind. Where did all that love come from? Thank you guys very much, and welcome to all of you for being a part of this very special webcast and the official launch of IT Management Suite 8.0. We are so excited to be here. We are live in New York City, and we are part of the New York Endpoint Management User Group. Very excited to be a part of that. And man, this is great. This is really exciting. Now, I mentioned the user group. The Altiris user groups have been a part of what we've been doing for almost 15 years now. They are an integral part to the growth and success of our endpoint management products. They are huge, not only for us, but for the users as well, who have a chance to share and learn and network and get a chance to talk to the people who are actually working on all of this. And it's been great. It's been, like I said, just really helped our products grow and get better and better, which leads us to here. We'd also like to thank right now the New York User Group for allowing us to crash their meeting today and host this. So if you guys are here, give yourselves a hand for letting us be a part of this. The New York User Group, guys, nice job. Now, about a year ago, we launched in IT Management Suite 7.6 and Ghost 3.0. We did it at our Salt Lake City User Summit, and we wanted to reach a wider audience, so we thought, well, let's do a webcast. Let's do this live. Let's let everyone be a part of this at the same time. It was such a big success that we thought, hey, we're going to do it again right here. We're going to make sure that this is all a part of it. And we're real excited to have this here. We want to thank, I think as we got started, well, a little over 1,200 people had signed up to be a part of this. And so we want to thank those of you who are watching right now and those of the future people who are watching the recorded version. So thanks all of you who've spent some time with us here today to be a part of all of this. This is a very exciting time for us. We also want to point out that we're trying to make sure that while we're presenting this, if you have questions, we want to know about those questions. Now on the Bright Talk platform, for those watching on that, you can put your questions into that. We've got our own Andy who's going to be jotting down some of the questions we can answer later. Also, if you'd like to tweet us some questions, you can do that using the hashtag ITMS8 and send your questions. We'll be answering a few of those at the end of this program, but do know that we'll take all of your questions, at least the really legitimate questions. You know what I mean. But we're going to take all those questions, get them all transcribed, put them on Symantec Connect with the answers. You'll get a chance to do that. And like I alluded to earlier, we're going to record this session, and that'll be on the Bright Talk platform and on Symantec Connect as well. So this is going to be a great time. We've got demos, we've got panels, we've got all kinds of things going on. So it's time for me to kick this off. Let's please get this all rolling and have you help me welcome to the stage Symantec's Vice President of Engineering and Product Management, Vishal Gupta. Vishal, come on up, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Can you guys hear me all right? So once again, a big welcome to all of you in the room, as well as those on the webcast. As Bob mentioned, we have folks, over 1,000 folks from 50 different cities. So a good morning for the folks in the US, and good afternoon for the folks in Europe, and maybe a good evening for the folks in Asia Pacific. I'm the Vice President for Engineering and Product Management for Endpoint Management and Control and Compliance. And IT Management Suite is part of Endpoint Management for Symantec. And it's a great pleasure for us to welcome you to our official launch of IT Management Suite 8.0. As we think about IT Management Suite 8.0, and the team's done, again, a great job in getting this out on time. Really want to thank all of the customers as well, because it's all your input that we take in to prioritize what features to bake in and work with the partners and customers. And there's a couple few messages that I would love to share with you in this journey. So if you think about where we are and where we're going, it's important to reflect where we came from. So I want you to think about what happened 9 years ago. Any thoughts? So 9 years ago is when actually Symantec acquired Altiris. And why? Because Symantec was a pioneer in thinking that to really secure an endpoint, you have to manage it. The best secure endpoint is the best managed endpoint. And that's where we've been in the journey for the last 9 years, to make sure that we really bring the management, and the protection stories together. And I'm very pleased to share that we've made a lot of progress on that as we launch ITMS 8.0 as well. It's something that we continue to do. So as we think about ITMS 8.0, there's a couple things that are useful to keep in mind. Number one, we're really trying to bring you great visibility to make sure that you really have visibility whether you have traditional or modern endpoints. Number two, we're trying to make sure that not only do you have visibility on the device side, but you're also able to see all the software that this device is carrying. So that way you have great ability to basically do license compliance, software license management, so on and so forth. Now that you've got all this important information, we want to make sure we help you secure it even better by making sure that this information is really compliant with the latest standards like FIPS. And finally, it's all about bringing, really our customers told us they want to really get started on the cloud journey for management and protection, and that's what we're trying to do with ITMS 8.0. So today, you'll be able to hear not only about some of the key capabilities that ITMS 8.0 will bring, and we'll go into more depth right after my session, but you'll also be able to see some of these capabilities, a demonstration. And most importantly, you'll be able to hear from customers like yourself. So we have 3 early adopters who'll be joining us today from companies like yourselves who've actually already moved to ITMS 8.0 and have seen lots of great advantages from that. So overall, before we get to the demonstration or the panel, there's really 3 messages that I want to leave you with. One, it's really all about visibility and making sure that you really understand what devices, what software is on those devices, and be able to really manage and get great visibility. And that's why we've both improved the visibility, and we have made sure there's much higher scalability. So all this extra information that you get now, you're able to manage many more endpoints. Number 2, it's really all around being able to manage everything, whether it's in your boundary or outside your boundary, whether the device belongs to you or the user, whether it's a traditional device or a modern device. And we've made sure that not only are you able to manage everything, but also we improve the usability of the experience so that way it becomes much easier to use. And finally, as I mentioned, it's all about protection. So we're making sure with things like FIPS compliance, better TLS compliance, better integration between management and protection, we're able to really bring you the whole management and protection story together, starting with ITMS 8.0. So again, the bottom line of what I'm really saying is that Symantec is really a pioneer in this area, and we're really making a lot of strides. And we're very excited about sharing what's in ITMS 8.0 with you, and looking forward to having you all make the upgrade plans and be able to move on this journey with us. So having said that, I'd love to invite Hugo Parra, who is the Director for Product Management, who would like to take you, maybe the next level deep down into the details. Welcome, Hugo.
Thank you,
Let's give a big round of applause.
Thank you so much, and good morning to you guys. It's great to be here in New York in this official launch of ITMS 8.0. And I want to spend the next few minutes telling you some highlights about the product we're very excited about, and then spending a few minutes also showing you a demonstration of the product. The first thing that I'd like to say is that ITMS 8.0 is specifically designed to solve the key challenges of the modern IT environment. You have told us, for example, to Vishal's point earlier today, that you need to have visibility of all the endpoints inside your environment. ITMS 8.0 certainly does that across all your endpoints. There's 3 specific areas. As we ask you, what exactly you mean by that is we would like to, you told us, you'd like to expand what ITMS can manage outside the traditional boundary. And these 3 examples are, we want to do a better job at expanding the management to remote branches, affiliates, franchises. These are environments that you get into through mergers, acquisitions, or otherwise that take too long today to roll out infrastructure. It's too expensive in some cases. In some cases, it takes too much expertise to do. We'd like to do a better job with that. Number 2 is bring your own device to work, control your own device, choose your own device. This is just beyond just having an intern that wants to be stubborn about the device they want to use. This includes partners. This includes contractors, people that have a legitimate reason to have access to your resources, and you want to have visibility of those people. And third is mobile devices, just truly having a unified view of everything, right, that is inside your environment. Symantec is introducing a cloud service called Unified Endpoint Protection. You're going to be hearing a whole lot about it from us over the next few months. And what it allows us to do our customers is to be able to enroll these devices in these use cases, so that they can be managed and they can be protected from the cloud. Now, with ITMS 8.0, we allow you to establish a connector to that cloud service, so that that information that is being tracked on those devices can be centrally viewed inside your console, side by side everything else that you manage through an ITMS agent, right, with a single view, single reporting, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to demo this for you, but we're very excited about this unified view that it will provide for our customers from the cloud. Another item you told us about is you want to be able to have better control of the software costs, right? It's estimated by IDC, by the way, that 25% of all licenses that are ever purchased are never used. It's completely wasted funding for an organization. And nobody likes to be surprised by fees that need to be paid during a software audit. So ITMS 8.0 optimizes some of that licensing management and cost. We've done that. Now, you guys know who've been with ITMS for some time that we provide a very unique value to our customers. And it is that on this left-hand side, we have this unified way through a single platform, single CMDB, single console, to be able to gather information throughout your environment, usage, inventory, and management of contracts that relate to software. We also, through the same solution, provide you all kinds of actions that you can take, right, when there's a gap in how the software is being used on license, to be able to remediate that. What ITMS 8.0 has done in this release is we beefed up this middle section, which is the ability to correlate, to connect the dots between the information that you're gathering on that and then how you want to address it and respond to it. So we've done it through two mechanisms. Number one, we have extended the coverage that we have for licensed models. We've gone beyond devices. Device is still the most popular model, but now we're covering per user models, which is growing exponentially, and then per CPU or processor, which is very common on high-end applications. And then number two, we have provided you with a unified, a consolidated dashboard for being able to correlate what the cause and effect, what's causing you to come out as an over-deployed license or underutilized license, or who might be using it, a specific application without being authorized to do so. And not only do we provide you from a single panel, but we also allow you to be able to take action on those things. Again, I'm going to demo some of that for you here in a few minutes. Very exciting way to be able to bring that view into one single place and be able to make sure that your posture around license compliance is what you want it to be. Next, you have told us that you continue to have the need to expand the reach of your management, more nodes, but you don't only just want to be able to do more. You want to be able to do it with less, right? Simplify, consolidate, and ITMS 8.0 allows you to do that. It gives you room for growth. We're excited to show you and tell you that with ITMS 8.0, we have doubled the scalability per notification server for per SMP server. So if you have a scenario where you are having to have multiple servers to be able to accommodate managing all your endpoints, now we give you the option for you to consolidate, right, and be able to manage the same thing from a single notification server. Number two, some of our customers, as they have had the need to have multiple servers, they still want to have a central view of that so they can manage from one point. And that has led many of our customers to implement hierarchy and replication. Well, many of those scenarios now, not only can they consolidate and experience all the savings in the hardware and the maintenance and the ongoing care and feed of those systems, but they can retain the same central view by having a single server to accomplish many of those things. We also have some, on the high end, some customers that have gone beyond the limit of what we cover with a single hierarchy, right, beyond 120,000 nodes, and they have to go into multiple levels of a hierarchy. For them, we also have a great value, being able to consolidate that into a simpler architecture for them to be able to provide a very solid and robust solution for them. Now, if you're sitting here in the audience or watching on the webcast and you're thinking, you know, I'm nowhere close to pushing the limits of 20,000 servers nodes per server, how does this help me? And the answer is this. As we've been able to bring all this great scalability and consolidation, we had to do all kinds of refinements and optimizations for how we display the information, for how we collect that information, for how we allow you to navigate and filter that information. And all those provide a nicer experience, a more responsive experience. And everyone, no matter what size, you'll be able to benefit from some of those, enhancements in ITMS 8.0. Next, and Vishal referred to this thing, we're hearing from you, you're telling us that as the boundaries of your organization expand beyond the traditional, it's become more important than ever to secure your data, to make sure that your environment is well protected. One of the things that we've done in ITMS 8.0 through the integration with Unified Endpoint Protection is to be able to bring, right, from that cloud offering into the console, the view of the security status of your devices. So you can see if a device is protected, is secure, if it is at risk, or if it might be compromised, and be able to plan accordingly and react to that. That's an important aspect that we want to highlight. We also have increased the power of the encryption modules that we use throughout ITMS for communicating, for protecting, for anywhere where information is being handled by ITMS, you can take advantage of that. That, by the way, makes ITMS FIPS compliant, which for many of our customers is something that is very important to do. The other thing that I will mention here is that cloud-enabled management, a feature of ITMS, continues to expand and be used by more and more of our customers. And because it enables you to manage outside the firewall, it's become more and more important for us to have the latest security technology, and being able to have TLS support, the latest versions of that, in that is something that our customers required, and we continue to move forward in making that not just viable, but a secure way of managing your environment. Lastly, what we have heard from you is that as you use ITMS, you want the day-to-day operations to be streamlined. You want it to just work. You want it to be simple. And IT Management Suite 8.0 advances that forward in a number of areas. I'm going to just mention a couple for you, just to give you a taste for what we've done. In ITMS 7.6, we introduced a concept of central view of your agent health. Right? We got great feedback from that. And one of the things that our customers say is, one of the things that sometimes is not quite right throughout my environment is being able to see that all the agents that I'm running, however large my environment is, are running the right version. And not just the agent, but all these plugins that go into that. Right? When we have a mismatch, things just don't work the way that we expect them to do. So we're bringing that information now into a central view. If we find a very easy way for you to figure out that something is, there might be a gap, and then we actually point you to what is the expected version throughout your environment, and then allow you to remediate it by providing you a convenience link that helps you take care of that and make sure that it's correct. Another thing that we heard from the use of 7.6 is people really fell in love with the UI that we provide for creating filters and viewing those filters, right? You can dice and slice and look exactly deep into your CMDB and figure out what you need to do. And the request came to us is, wouldn't it be great if we could just save that as a report? That would become like the preferred, the dream way of being able to create reports from this point forward. And we've done that now. So we think that this is going to become probably the de facto way of using and creating reports and being able to edit that. We're very excited about that. The last item that I'll mention here, and I'll jump into the demo, is that we have heard from some of our administrators who, when it comes to rolling out patches, delivering software, sometimes they're just a little bit hesitant because they don't really know the implications that it might have with the rebooting of an endpoint, right? And the last thing that you want to do is to be able to roll out a patch and find out that you disrupted somebody doing some work. So we've added a lot more granular control for when those reboots will happen, and we think that will bring confidence in how our administrators manage their environment. All these things add up to a great value for our customers, and we are excited to bring that to you guys in IT Management Suite 8.0. Now, what I'd like to do is step through a quick demonstration of some of the capabilities that I highlighted. I'll start out here by telling you, I'm going to step down so you can see. This is the ITMS 8.0 console. Some of these things should look very familiar to you, right? Like, for instance, we're here showing some endpoints that are being managed through an ITMS agent. I've selected one of them here, nothing too different from there. But you will see here in the list some icons that look very different from what you're used to. If I select this icon right here, you will see that this thing is not being managed by an ITMS agent. This is information that is coming to us by the Unified Endpoint Protection Cloud Service. Now, how do we get to this point? there is a very simple configuration page that we provide you for you to set up a connector. You can have one or multiple connectors if you're bringing data from different areas. And then you get to specify some simple credentials. You need to identify what endpoints you actually want to bring over, what groups, and how often you want to be able to keep this in sync. Now, if you want more information about this thing, you can go and click on the contextual help. Now, this is something new that I want to highlight for you. Notice that when you go in here, you see what you expect to see here on the center page, right? Which is, what kinds of things or options are available for you at this point. The difference now is that this is coming now from the cloud. It can be updated constantly. You can consume that, the latest piece. But notice, too, now that we're introducing here on the right-hand side articles that come directly from our Connect forum that are related to this very specific area. And we're also adding articles from our support forum that allows you to also, again, have access to all the latest information that you need on a specific thing. Going back to the console, we provide out-of-the-box filters to allow you to view this information more cleanly. So if you want to only select the things that are coming from Unified Endpoint Protection, you can do that. Notice that we have a new summary view here, an updated summary view that shows not only the traditional endpoints, but things like Android and iOS, truly giving you a unified view of everything that is in your environment. We have also added this security status summary view that brings the information on the security status of those devices. Again, we're retrieving this information from Unified Endpoint Protection. It allows you to see what systems are secure, what systems might be at risk, and what things might actually be compromised. By drilling down in this, selecting one of these areas, we do what you already know we can do, which is drill down on this list, being able to identify the specific systems that display that particular status. Then you can go and drill down farther into it by selecting one of these and being able to see, if this thing is at risk, what is the reason that it might be at risk, and then whether or not you want to do something about. You can also go and use that information in the creation of reports, right? You can come up, and this was introduced in 7.6. People love the fact that you can have this tabular form to be able to provide a view. Notice that now we can include information that is coming from Unified Endpoint Protection. And just as importantly, here's the option, right? To be able to save that as a bona fide report that then you can just go and consume, send around, do whatever. It will become the simplest way for our customers to create reports and be able to keep those up to date. Very exciting stuff. Now, the last thing that I'll mention here is, assume that I'm going and select a device here, a Mac OS device, and I notice that it's, I get some information here, but I want to know more about it. I want to go and figure out more specific information. We provide a link here to take you straight into the Unified Endpoint Protection console. This is exactly what it looks like, right? From the cloud, you're able to get more details on that device. You're also able to perform some actions from here. If you want to fix certain things, unroll that device or unenroll that device, and then you're also able to see how that device is managed, right? If you want to see more information about that, you can get more information on some inventory, such as hardware and the applications that are running on that device, and start getting a sense for what that experience might be, being driven from the cloud. Very exciting stuff. We're happy to bring that convergence of those worlds through ITMS 8.0. Now I'm going to switch gears a little bit here and get back to the console and show you what we've done for the software compliance management. I'm selecting an installed product here, and you'll see that many times this is what I view when I present this to a customer, is many of them are collecting inventory but not doing a whole lot more. So this is beneficial, but it's not what our customers can get from our product. So one of the things they can do straight from here is turn on the metering capability so that we can see the usage of that device. And the moment that they do that, right, this becomes a little bit more interesting, right? You can start seeing if something is used or it's not being tracked. You're able to start making some decisions about, what the reasons might be behind that deployment and whether or not it's merited. Now, we go beyond that. From here, you can also go and decide that a specific software needs to be managed, right, for licensing. So you turn on licensing. Notice that I have already here defined 14 licenses, $1,000 per license, and I have also used per user as the meter for this stuff, right? So I get to specify what users can use that. So once I do that, this becomes a lot more interesting. This is when I talked about correlation, right? We start to show you what might be the reasons why these things are overutilized or underutilized, right? And be able to drill down onto what that might be. Not only can you start seeing that from this picture, but we actually give you some hints up here above of the most important things that an administrator might want to do to make that a little bit better, right? In this particular case, the top thing that you can do is realize that 6 licenses are being over-deployed. Nobody wants to be caught in that situation. So you can go select that particular set of individuals, see what those endpoints are, and decide if that was right. In this particular case, I'm assuming that we did, maybe we did buy licenses for these endpoints. So let's go and from this place, edit the license definition for that particular software package. I'm going to go in here and remove the authorization, to change the authorization for those users, right? And say, these guys actually are okay, right? They should be authorized to use the software. I save it, save the definition of the license itself. And the beauty about taking this approach is that from the same place that you're having this interface, you can see the feedback as to whether you're getting closer to your objectives, right? Right here, as we update that, this looks a lot better, right? You can see now that, I think I was not as bad as I thought, right? There's still some things here in orange that are underutilized. Notice that if you go to the hints, that has now changed. At the top of the list now is you have 2 licenses that are over deployed, which means that you have a savings opportunity of this amount of dollars. You go and select those particular endpoints. You can go then and see what are those endpoints that are being where it's being not used, and then you can make a couple of decisions from here, right? You can say, I want to create a report for this because the person that manages this particular package, I want to confirm if this guy should really be given access to this application or not. Email that report, whatever you need to do. They can come back and they can say, no, that needs to be removed. Again, from the same place, you can create a filter that you can use to then execute a task, right, to be able to either deploy the software, remove the software, whatever remediation action you need to take on that. You can see how bringing these worlds together for us and that correlation, notice that all that happened from the same UI, right? We think that that's a powerful story for our customers that will bring better control of what they do. So there you have it, right? Lots and lots and lots to talk about, lots of to go and look inside our console on ITMS 8.0. We encourage you to do that. I would love to tell you about it for hours, right? But what we'd like to do instead is we brought a panel of customers who are early adopters of this technology. And to do that, we'd like to bring them to the front. And to help moderate that, please welcome Damon Covey, Director of Solutions Product Management. Damon, thank you so much.
Thank you, Hugo. Appreciate it. And I'll just add my thanks to everybody in the room and on the webcast as well. This is my favorite part of the program. The thing I like to do more than anything else, if anybody knows me, is to work with you guys, our customers, right? We don't exist without you guys, and so we sincerely appreciate your participation. One of the things we also get to do with new versions of our product that come out is to run what we call Early Adopter Program, or it stands for EAP. Some of you may know it by. What that allows us to do is get with our customers either before GA in some cases or directly after GA of the product and go through an installation and actually go through getting this up and running in their environment. We try wherever we can to do all the validation and testing that we can do and try to implement your scenarios and look at those, but there's always things you guys can do and we'll find with the software that we can't, right? So this is kind of a final validation for us. And so it's my pleasure to announce the fact we've got 3 customers up on, and I'll have them introduce themselves here in just a minute. We've got 3 customers with us today that will be talking to us about version 8. Now, I know that there's more out there that have implemented version 8, but these are 3 that we've been involved with very directly, and we'd like them to relay their experiences to you, give you some of their lessons learned, some things that may help you save some time as well as you look to roll version 8 out into your environment. So with that said, let me turn it over to the stars of the show here for a minute. So I'll have you guys just take a minute or two and introduce yourselves, just kind of where you come from, what company you're representing, what solutions you use, if there's other Symantec solutions you're using as well, maybe a little bit about the endpoints you're managing and the solutions inside of Endpoint that you're using as well. So Michael.
So how's everybody going? Name's Michael Cruz. I'm with Coach, the retail company. And I manage the endpoints globally, so that's solutions and engineering, so anything on the endpoint itself. We have about 5,000 workstations, 5,000 nodes that we manage as well. Topology, we have site servers in each location globally. And products we use today that I manage is more so a SEP, Symantec Endpoint Protection, and some other ones, but I just talk about the ones I manage.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michael. Jason.
Hello, everyone, and good morning. I'm Jason Iloff from Secure24. I'm a Symantec architect, and Secure24 is a hosting and full-service provider. And basically today what we're doing is we manage about 9 different SMPs, both in a shared and then customer-based. And overall we manage about 10,000 endpoints.
Great, thank you. Tom?
Yep. So I'm Tom LaRue from Cardinal Health. I manage our systems management group. Some of the other Altiris products we have outside of Altiris is SEP, PGP, DCS, and DLP. From a node standpoint, we are just over 30,000 endpoints that we manage with Altiris.
Okay, great. So Tom, since we're already kind of at you, let's stick with you for a minute here, and I'll ask you a couple questions. So let's start with kind of why did you want to move to version 8? Why was it interesting to you? Why was the early adopter program interesting to you? Maybe some of those drivers that might have led you to go there quickly.
Yep. We have with 30,000 endpoints, we do have a hierarchy set up. So collapsing that hierarchy, we've had challenges from network utilization, causing some outages at some of our sites with systems going to different management servers. So collapsing that was our number one item. Another is cloud enable management. As part of the 30,000 endpoints, we have well over 10,000 mobile devices, and just being able to get a view in to those systems, there's a good portion of them who never VPN in, so we can't push software, we can't patch them, we really don't know how vulnerable we are, so that was another one.
Okay, great. And CEM, for anybody who's not familiar with the cloud-enabled management, is something we introduced in version 7.5. It's probably one of, if not the most popular feature I've seen introduced in my 11 years here with Altiris and now Symantec. So it's something that I think it's fair to say probably all of you guys are looking at, and I would imagine that most of you in the audience are as well. One of the things, Tom, that I'd like to kind of drill into a little bit here for just a minute is around your hierarchy setup and some of the consolidation. I know there's a lot of customers that are kind of bordering on that, maybe 30 to 50,000 nodes area, and they may want to go from a hierarchy to a single server, right? Simplify that infrastructure. So can you talk a little about what it looked like before, maybe a little more detail about that, and then what it looks like now, and how many systems you've got reporting and things of that nature?
Yep, absolutely. So our main, we had one management server, our main server, 3 SMPs below that from child servers, managing anywhere from 5,000, we had another one at 10,000 and another one at 20,000. So our endpoints, they vary depending on where they're at and moving in and out of mergers and acquisitions. We switched over based off of Symantec's recommendations to 2 servers, one for our SMP and another one for housing SQL. It's been a great experience personally. I can say, going from having those additional servers, trying to manage and trying to have my clients going in, knowing which systems to push software from, and going to this one console and get in and out, getting immediate results it's been amazing.
Great. How's the performance?
It's awesome. One of the items we put in solid state drives. We have a lot of memory, 32 proc servers, so the console's flying for us.
Okay. And then one of the things that I know we work on quite a bit with customers is speccing the hardware out, right? So how did you figure out what the best hardware for you guys would be within your environment, knowing what you're doing, how many nodes you've got, et cetera?
Yeah, so in the past, we generally go to the vendor, ask what we should do, and then we come back and we personalize it to us. We took a different approach this time. We've had challenges in the past with that. We asked Symantec. Thomas and his team did a great job providing, these are the specs, this is what you need, these are the type of drives you need to have, this is the IOPS you need, and we built specifically to that.
Excellent. Okay. And for anybody listening, and again in the room, the good news is all those lessons learned that we get with working with customers like Cardinal and others, those make it back into our documentation, right? So if you look at our planning for implementation guide and other architecture resource guides that are out there, any of those changes or recommendations will be reflected in that as well. So that's something that I would definitely encourage you to do as you go forward. Let's switch and let's move over to Jason for just a few minutes here. So Jason, I'll ask you the same kind of opening question that I did Tom here. So why don't you talk for just a few minutes about what were your drivers? What were the things you wanted to accomplish? What excited you about version 8?
Yeah, really our drivers were two. So one was obviously how many nodes you can actually manage with one infrastructure. Being a hosting and full service provider, that makes it the ability for us to lessen our footprint, right, per se, and just have one SMP that will actually manage some of our infrastructure was a big win. The other thing is CEM. So we needed to manage just not our local office, but also our India office and then some assets that are at our data centers as well.
Okay. And I was actually at the early adopter with Jason, so I actually know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyways. So I know you've got a heterogeneous environment with some Macs and some Windows machines out there. Are you doing cloud-enabled management on both of those machines?
Yes, we are. Yep,
Okay.
we do both, and it really is flawless. Once you get the setup proper, your certificates proper, your DNS proper, everything will work internally and externally.
Okay, great. Now, and I guess one of the questions, if you look at setting that up in your environment, are there some lessons learned or things that you may have learned throughout that setup of the CEM specifically that maybe you could help the folks with that maybe they'd avoid some pitfalls that they might run into?
Yeah, I think the first thing is just understanding your certificate based, whether you have CA, certificate authority server in your environment, you're doing a third party, or you're doing self-signed. So we went with self-signed because that's really the easiest thing to do. That and then DNS. You'll want to make sure or ensure that you're pulling DNS from DHCP. Once you take that machine outside of your internal network, if there are any DNS records per se, or IP addresses or suffixes, it won't work outside. So
Okay.
you need to make sure that that's kind of internally, and then externally you can pick it up off your home Wi-Fi or whatever.
Okay. Now, certificates are kind of interesting, right? I mean, they can be a little bit of a dark art to some people, and they can cause some issues. Is that fair to say if not set up correctly?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so I think that's one of the lessons learned for sure that we want to make sure is that you do your homework on that. Make sure you've got the the ability to generate those right certificates. And then one of the other things we've also done, just to share this with the audience as well, is we've put a lot of effort in the last couple of releases to kind of streamlining that process and making it easier. And so hopefully that's coming out as well and coming to our customers.
Yes, it did.
Great. So the other thing I'd like to ask you, Tom, go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah, so Cardinal is another one. We did not use CEM before. We did have Thomas on site, so if you guys get to work with Thomas, it's great. But he helped walk us through step by step. It was a seamless transaction for us. So he went through, he said, this is what we need to test. We implemented it, did the testing, and it was right there. So
Okay.
it was a great experience, and for us, it was painless.
For those who don't know Tomas, he's on my team, and we've actually just set him up with unlimited minutes on his cell phone from here on out. So you guys can know I'm kidding, but we have a great team of folks, both Tomas and then others in our support group that can help out with that as well. Jason, one more question for you, and then Michael, I'm going to jump over to you here for a few minutes, is in terms of the ease of installation, that's one of the things that we've focused on as well is making that migration easy, making it painless, making it backwards compatible, some of those kind of things. You have a lot of environments, right? You mentioned you have 9 different environments.
Yeah, we have 9 different ones.
So what's been your experience with that, specifically with version 8?
Well, in the past, we've run into issues where it takes about an hour or 2 hours just to install from SIM, and then you have to do all your, configuration afterwards with your sub-agents, your main agents, all that stuff. So quite cumbersome, but this time, 25 minutes. 25 minutes inside the SIM, the application was installed, upgraded. We went from HF, or 7.6 HF7, and then went to version 8. So 25 minutes, it was fantastic.
So it kind of just worked, it sounds like, right?
It just worked.
From an hour to 2 down to 25 minutes?
Yep,
Not
just
too
worked.
shabby.
No partial installs, very clean.
Okay, great, excellent, thank you. So Michael, let's switch over to you for a few minutes here. So talk to us a little bit about some of the drivers that the coach had for moving to version 8 and some of the things that you wanted to see specifically in your environment.
So a lot of it is cloud-enabled management. That's key right there. I need to manage computers in different countries. I need to manage computers if we acquire a different company where the infrastructure is not there, or it may come 6 months later. So that's the main driver there is cloud-enabled management, patch management, the patch manage reboot cycle. So reboots bring the machine compliant. It's a lot better functionality in that, and I can dig a little deeper into that part there if need be.
That'd be great.
So with Patch, we actually created our own little reboot cycle, right? Every Friday, machines reboot, a little Microsoft thing pops up. Only because the product could not schedule a certain time. So if the patch goes off and during that week, somebody's machine gets rebooted, they call the service desk, hey, my machine's rebooted 3 times. So whatever cycles you have on there. So with the new product, the new updates now, you can schedule a time or duration and allow it to defer and to, communicate to the end user a lot better.
Great. And by the way, that feature is also available in software management. So that's also something that we introduced with version 8 as well. Ugo talked a little bit about that. But, we have one of the customers I deal with a lot is clinicians in healthcare, right? So the last thing you want to do, this would apply to any business, but if you've got a clinician that's doing a visit with a patient, the last thing you want to do is reboot their system during one of those processes, right? You might have designers or whoever it might be, and so this allows you to kind of give them that opportunity to defer that for the time period they want, which also matches your schedule. Is that fair to say?
Right, yeah, and to follow compliance. So we have a compliance at a certain time if it's 95, 98% globally. Rebooting those machines frequently definitely helps.
Excellent, excellent. And I know CEM, Cloud-Enabled Management, is also something that you guys are looking forward to going to. It's kind of in process right now as well?
Yes,
okay.
It's in the process, yes.
Okay, excellent. In terms of lessons learned, what wisdom would you impart to the audience and to those who are listening today?
I would say your environment, right? So proper change controls, proper ports for CEM, make sure that's open. Like they said, the certificates, if you have a certificate chain, make sure you have the root chain versus the sub chains as well. We have a PKI infrastructure, so 1, 2, 3, it's like 3 different levels of the certificates, so you have to make sure that chain all matches, right, with the handshakes. Hardware requirements, make sure everything's there. We did run into some issues here with Tomas, he was on site with me as well, along with Nova Coast. Where we had to scale up some of the RAM, some of the CPU on some of the devices on my site servers or gateway servers and stuff. So
okay.
I would say just make sure you know your environment. Make sure where you scale it at.
Okay. Speaking of gateways,
and then you'll also want to make sure that when you're doing CEM, get a few test machines out there before you kind of let it out. Deploy it out to all your hosts. Get a few machines out there, test the waters, make sure things work properly.
Right. To add to that, because once you switch to HTTPS, and you're on HTTP now, once you switch over and you're having an issue, it'll be hard if you enable that for the entire environment to get it back. So you lose connectivity, and it's going to be a pain getting every one of those machines to come back online.
Excellent. And then I know you ran into an issue with the gateway itself in terms of the version number as well, right?
Yeah, we did. So I was looking at it. I know you and I had, we were talking in depth, and then Tomas obviously was helping us on the phone as well. So we ran into a few issues. I started looking at it, and I noticed that the version was off. So just be aware that if you do upgrade, you will have to download that package from the console and actually install it on the gateway. And it does just upgrade it. You'll be all set. No changes are made. Your thumbprint will be there. It's just an upgrade.
So speaking of versions here for a minute, Ugo had talked before about the agent plugins and the ability to see those inside of the UI. I know I was in the room when you discovered that feature. We didn't actually set that up for him. He kind of discovered that on his own, but I know that was one you were particularly excited about. Can you talk a little bit about that? And I know you found it with one way where there was one version that was actually off of, or there was one agent that was off of version.
Yeah, there was one agent that was off a version, which we're taking care of, and we'll look into that more. But yeah, it's great. So you've got the flip book on the activity center, and you can go right to the agent health, and you see all the sub agents, just like Hugo was pointing out in his demonstration. So you know where to look if there's an issue, right? Maybe it's your policy, maybe that machine isn't targeted for that policy, maybe you just missed something. But it's definitely something to look at, and it provides great value.
Right there in one centralized location.
Right, to add to that, I would say also it's the primary user. If it's the primary user, the last logged on users right there on the console in the activity center that you...
Yep, that's listed there too.
Yeah, if I get quests a lot to say, hey, who logged onto this machine? All right, you got to generate a report, you got to pull this or look at that. You could just go right to the console and right next to the machine is the primary user.
Awesome. Excellent. One of the other, Tom, did you have something you wanted to add there as well? Okay. One quick question for you, and then Tom, I'll come over to you next here. Is in terms of, I know we added FIPS 140 in the last version. I know that's not applicable to everybody, but I believe you're using that in some of your environments. Is that correct?
Yeah, especially in our shared environment where we have, or our governmental, right? So we would utilize that, and we're utilizing that. It's a great feature, and it's something that we can go back to our customers and say, yep, we're compliant, we're using this stuff.
Nothing you really had to do for it. You just pretty much
it's
installed
just
the
there.
version.
Yep.
And then flip the bit. Okay, great, excellent. So Tom, let me come back to you. One of the one of the big kind of future directions, which is happening now, and then you'll all see more and more of this moving forward with our products, is the integration of these products together in the cloud. Ugo showed the ability to connect data back into the console, et cetera. I know you and I have talked about wanting to get to a point where you have integrated security management together. Vishal talked earlier about the fact that that is in fact a cornerstone of where Symantec's at. If you look at, again, John Thompson years ago said, well-managed endpoint's a secure endpoint, right? And it's really coming true. We're seeing that more and more. Would you agree with that? And maybe anything you might add to that and where you might see that moving in the future for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an area, so I manage most of the Symantec products at Cardinal. Being able to go to one console for those items is really important to us. And we moved from a 7.5 environment to the 8 environment. And during that migration, our previous deployment, we actually had installed the SEP portion to help manage some of those endpoints as well. So we are very interested in going down this path.
Okay. And then one other question. I know you guys use the software portal, correct? Can you talk about that a little bit? And I know there's many users of the software portal, I'm sure, in this room, and then also out there on the internet, interwebs with us. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you guys utilize the software portal in your environment?
Yeah, so we use, we generally, as we have applications, our asset management team adds the person to an AD group.
Okay.
And based off those AD groups, you can go in and go to the software portal, and as long as you're licensed for it, you're able to install it on demand. That is actually how our entire asset management team works. We no longer push items out with task. The first thing is send them a communication. This is how you download it. This is your package name. And the clients generally self-install their apps.
Excellent, excellent. Great use case. So Michael, I'm going to come back over to you for a minute here and let's, any other lessons learned, right? So again, I think that's one of the things, as I go out and talk to customers and do a lot of user groups and user summits, one of the things I think we get the most value from is customers kind of talking to each other, right? So I know we've talked about some of those, but is there anything else you ran into, if I was a parent, right, and I try to tell my kids, hey, don't make this mistake, right, or go about that. Are there any other things that you could impart from a wisdom perspective to the folks in the room?
I would say just make sure the Symantec rep, if he's engaged with you, to bring donuts on day 1 versus day 3. But outside of that, I would say...
Duly noted.
Outside of that, I would say it's basically, just make sure that your changes are in place, because that's more of a driver there, right? Especially if you have a source ID department, right? If you're not the one doing it, if it is managed offshore, maybe near shore, and you're just that driver, you want to make sure those changes are in place. You have the proper backups of your DB, your physical boxes, and also communication. For us, the installation took about 45 minutes to an hour. I would say we went out to lunch, came back, but with that said, it was seamless, upgrading.
Kind of a next type install?
Next type install. We met all the requirements. We did have one caveat, and it was with deployment solution we're looking to utilize, where we encountered agent lockouts with the service account. But we fixed that issue and, got past it.
Okay, great.
And that was actually one of the items that hit Cardinal pretty hard as well with those account lockouts. So.
Okay, good. Good to know. So Tom, since you've got the mic, I'll call upon you next. Any kind of last lessons learned for the group, or things that again you might want to impart over to them, where they can learn from some of the mistakes or some of the things that we did on your site?
Yeah, so some of the challenges, I wrote them down because I wanted to make sure I passed it out to you guys. Altiris agent, we had an inventory issue with one of our previous agents, and we've upgraded to 7.5, and then as we tried to move to 8, it was determined that we were having some inventory challenges. So just making sure you go in and remove your inventory sub-agent, your app metering sub-agent before you do the upgrade. If you have a known bug, then it can cause problems. The other is SWV. So our SWV environment was still in the 6th version. So as we went and started pushing out the updated SWV agent, we did not understand the amount of systems that one was actively using it and had the layers active on their system, and it did cause some challenges. Okay. So a big call out, you definitely wanted to make sure you disable those virtual layers before you try to do your upgrade.
Great tips. Jason, any parting words from you? Any parting words of wisdom?
I would just say read through the documentation, the release notes, make sure you have that, and then have an understanding of how your agents actually work and what you're deploying as far as your sub-agents. Obviously, you want to get all of your new agents out to your site servers first, and then you want to do your endpoints after that. So just understand your infrastructure as a whole and understand what you're trying to accomplish.
The last thing I would add, and I think you guys would all echo this because I know I've talked to you, is maybe being patient with the install sometimes too, right? Because how many times did we
resource manager,
and reload
push that button, and also update distribution points, package stuff. Be patient. It'll take some time. We all know that. Just let it do its thing, and you'll see agents start to connect in and actually get the sub-agents and do what they're supposed to be doing.
You're dealing with a lot of clients out there that are kind of doing their own thing, right? So, there is some refresh cycles and things like that need to take place.
And I guess the one last thing to add is CEM agent policy. Just make sure you have that correct, right? Make sure that you're actually targeting the right assets or the right endpoints with the right policy.
Great.
And also, when you are upgrading those agents and stuff, right, it goes back to knowing your environment. So we actually upgraded on, I want to say, a Monday, and Tuesday evening, we released a policy to a certain location. And the issue was to say, hey, you know what, when I've done this in the past, I had a lot more agents that was upgraded, right? Everything seems to be running fine. Everything is normal. But take a look at IIS. Only thing we had to do is do a restart on that, and then voila, the next hour we had about 2,500 machines that boom started popping up that was online.
Excellent.
So that was one caveat.
Great. Well, guys, I want to, on behalf of Symantec and my team and everybody else you've imparted your wisdom to, thank you guys for the courage to trust us to come out here and get things installed up and early in your environment, and the ability to come out here and impart that knowledge as well. So thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So with that said, Bob, I think we've got time for a couple of questions, possibly, before
we got a few minutes
here.
left. So let's, Andy, I know, was going through some of this. So let's get some questions, and also bring Ugo back up here, because I know I can't answer these questions. So let's see. Andy's written down a few of them here. Let's start with what does ITMS 8.0 mean for PC Anywhere? And what about... maybe you can read.
BOMGAR?
BOMGAR.
I got you.
And
Okay.
ITMS 8.0. What does that mean for these things?
Okay, I'll take that one, right? So as many of you know, with a couple of years ago, we took the announcement, we took the decision, and then a year ago with version 7.6, we announced we were going to end of life our PC Anywhere product and announced a promotion with BOMGAR. Now, as part of that, we've been talking to BOMGAR, and guys, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of customers, perhaps thousands, in that year around that. And one of the things that we have determined is that there are some customers that need some more licenses than the existing promotion, right? And so one of the things we've been working with BOMGAR is to provide that to you. So they are introducing, and I'll kind of, it's actually a great question, I'm glad it was asked, but they are introducing a new product called BOMGAR Connect in the May timeframe is when that's scheduled to come out. And we will have a new promotion available. So the existing promotion is still out there for those who have not migrated off and want to take advantage of that. but there will be a new promotion available for the BombGuard Connect product, and that will be ratio-based. So depending on the size of your organization, depends on how many licenses you'll get of that new BombGuard Connect solution. So not a lot of time to talk about that here, but what I would do is if you're interested in learning more about that, go to bombguard.com/PCAnywhere, register your information there, and you'll be contacted by a BombGuard rep who can walk you through the options and talk about some of the things that are coming in May, or reach out to us if you'd prefer as well. But either one of those methods will get you the information you need.
All right, great. Yeah. Now, next one, and I mentioned Ghost 3.0 earlier when I started this, and here's a question about that. We didn't hear much about Ghost Solution Suite or Service Desk. Were there new versions of these products released?
I can take that,
All right.
Bob. Yes, absolutely. At the same time that we went GA with ITMS 8.0, we also have concurrent releases of CMS, SMS, Asset Management Suite, Service Desk 8.0 as well, and Ghost Solution Suite 3.1. As you saw earlier, we're going to have a specific webcast for GSS 3.1 so that we can tell you all the latest on that, but that's available today already.
All right, great. And maybe we can see if we can get a couple more in quick. Is the portal HTML5 or Silverlight based?
Oh yeah, I can take that too. There's been a concern about the longevity of Silverlight. We are starting to move in the direction of providing more HTML5 based solutions. All the stuff that I demo that is based on the new asset management, the new software compliance, is based on HTML5. So you can't even tell the difference, right, for the experience, but behind the scenes, we're starting to make that replacement so that the platform remains viable for our customers.
Okay, quick question, Tom, you're still right there. Someone asked, are you using VM servers or physical servers? You can just let me know. Physical. Okay, physical server. Someone wanted to know that.
Great.
One last question. Does ITMS have a similar integration or connector with any other Symantec products?
Yeah, we're heading in that direction. What you saw with our integration with Unified Endpoint Protection is just the beginning of where we're heading. As more solutions come to the cloud, you will see an intimate integration with that broad portfolio. We're very excited about that story.
All right, great.
Yep, thank you.
Well, guys, thank you very much. We're out of time for questions now, but like I said, we're taking all the questions. We're going to have them on Symantec Connect, and we'll have those answers written out for you. I hope you guys have had a great time here, and seeing the panel here shows you how much you can get from being a part of a user group and getting that interaction back and forth. But let's go over real quick some of the things of ITMS 8.0, the 5 real key things that we were trying to solve here. Unifies visibility across all endpoints, enhances reporting, patch, and software management platform support, increases protection of information, optimizes software license cost, and gives organizations room to grow and is easier to use. We invite you to check this out. You can get this for yourself. Upgrade to ITM Management Suite 8.0. Just simply go.symantec.com/ITMS8. You can watch the ITMS 8.0 videos. We've got a long URL there, but of course it'll be on our Bright Talk, link. And then you can attend our Ghost Solution Suite 3.1 launch webcast, April 30th. The information's there for you to check that out. We've come up right against our time. Ladies and gentlemen, we really want to thank you for being a part of this. Again, we want to thank our New York Endpoint Management User Group for allowing us to be here. We've got more meetings. We've got lunch. Those of you watching on the webcast, thanks so much for being a part of this. And for all of you in the room, thanks very much, and congratulations on our ITMS 8.0 launch. Thank you, everyone. Good day.